Hi.
Hello.
My name is Eddie Toffanello.
I'm Rebecca Firth.
I'm Lenore Wyatt.
My name is Lisa Hatfield.
Renee Geary.
Evelyn Laval.
My name is Ryan Jabalt.
Ashley Wilkinson.
Edward Hasty.
My name's Katie Mole and this is my story.
My story.
This is my story.
This is my story.
My story.
My story.
And this is my story.
This is my story.
My story.
And this is my story.
This project is a partnership between the Mareeba Community Centre and the Queensland Department of Communities, Housing and Digital Economy, who have kindly provided the funding. It explores the resilience of the community of Mareeba and surrounds by interviewing local people regarding their experiences of disaster and trauma, learning about what they found useful and not, and what they've learnt from these experiences. It's been a privilege for us to hear these amazing people's stories, and I'm sure that you will also find it challenging and motivational.
And it wasn't all great. 15 years of domestic violence. So I experienced DV at a very young age.
Everything was going well. And then,
The one probably the struggle that I had was when my mum passed away.
So I've been through domestic violence and I've also faced homelessness.
Struggled a lot. Rearing 3 kids under the age of 5 on my own.
I said, yes, Mum, I'll come to the church. But I didn't go. I went to the racecourse. She didn't go to church. She got sick and she went to the hospital.
And as things progressed, the domestic violence started to come out in control with clothing, money, friends.
Yeah, it would have been losing my son, and he was sick for 3 years before he died. So we had a very long journey, and then he ultimately passed away last December.
Struggled a real lot with the kids' finances.
When I was about 2.5 to 3 years old, I was involved in a very tragic car accident. It's been a part of my life that's been closed off, like a secret life of mine that I've had for years.
She fell over and banged her head, died. I didn't know it.
He had 6 brain surgeries, high risk radiation. I lived between 2 states for 2 years, never home for more than 9 weeks, and lived out of a suitcase.
Then it eventually became physically, physical.
The results of that was that I had a very bad head injury with brain damage, and I was in a coma for 6 weeks, and I was in hospital for about 9 months.
Well, I came to Australia in 1991 and my English was very limited, so that was a challenge in itself.
Very challenging time.
Dad got sick and he got seriously sick. And I guess so by him getting very sick, I had basically, later on, 2 years down the track, he then passed away, and it all sort of went a little pear-shaped.
When I was 9, my brother passed away, so that was pretty big.
I've had to draw on every little thing I know about resilience.
So I hitchhiked around, limited financial funds.
That had a pretty profound effect on kind of my understanding of life, and at 9 years old, put quite a lot of pressure on the family.
It was after the funeral, I felt that emptiness.
Because when the phone call came on December 19th, and I might get upset and I do apologise. When the phone call came on December 19th to say that my son had been killed.
Yeah, it sort of has an impact on me still.
These amazing stories were analysed and organised using resilience theory and strengths-based framework. Participants talked about mental well-being, physical health, the support of family and friends, connection to community, and professional support.
If you fall over, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself up, and you keep going, you know, and it's the only way to go.
Then I got some counselling.
I realised I had to work out a way that I was going to be able to move forward and deal with this.
Give yourself permission to sometimes not be strong and let people take care of you.
And just, asking for help.
Anxiety is one of the worst illnesses that anyone can ever have. And panic attacks, I believe anyway, at that time there I would have, you know, it didn't go away.
I had to be strong-willed.
Appreciate every moment.
So it did affect me, yes, mentally, and, you know, I realised that I had a underlying mental illness.
Find something to be joyful for every day.
You're only doing it for yourself, so just keep going.
To be kind to yourself, be kind to others.
Lots of things that you can worry about, but there's a lot of things that you're worrying, but they're out of your control.
Even if it's a couple of steps, you know, just keep pushing, because those couple of steps will go to a couple more steps, and then a couple more, you know, and then you'll keep going.
Tell yourself every day you can do this.
I've read a couple of books on grief.
I'll be feeling very good at one stage, and next minute I'll be feeling very crappy.
I gave myself space and time.
When I asked for a support worker,
I'm going to allow myself to feel that grief.
And I just said to her, "Are you okay?" I've listened to some podcasts. I found them very helpful.
Yeah, and I saw a good psychologist.
Process what I'm feeling so that I can live my life.
I spoke to the doctors, and the doctors then referred me to a psychiatrist.
So she was great.
Accepting that it's all right to not be okay.
You have to push through.
Look at getting some professional help.
I suppose acknowledging those emotions and the impact that they're having on you day to day.
But I worked really hard, and when I was struggling, I could always pull myself out.
I know now I'm a survivor, so that's a good strength to have.
I just had to move forward, and you know, there was a debt, and there was and I was all on my own, and so it was, but slowly, you know, things fell into place, and I had to continue the legacy.
Take the moment to grieve when the time comes.
People find it hard and they need assistance. We'll give them the help that they need.
Find a way to switch off, to step away.
That I have a choice to pick the people I want to be with.
Learning how to show more empathy when you're talking to someone who's had their life, you know, turned upside down.
And I did activities, either getting out, meeting people, breathing techniques.
I walked a lot.
To take 10 minutes at a time.
Listening to music, which helped me a lot.
We had to adapt to the lifestyle.
I had to take on everything on board.
Made sure I had one good meal a day.
getting out of the four walls of your house is a big thing.
Doing activities like going and playing tennis.
I took myself off for a walk.
Going out and seeing a friend.
We would go and do some physical labour.
We went to Italy and somebody was taking care of my tobacco. And I felt it was like a great big weight off my shoulder.
You can volunteer.
Even if it's for half an hour, walk around the block.
To start looking for employment.
We had big family support, and not just the immediate family. We've got a very large family throughout the whole of Australia.
Yeah, got through it with support of my friends and family.
I talked to friends and family about it.
I had to keep going for everyone in the family. And also we went and saw a psychologist.
And a hell of a lot of support from my wife, Emma, and, understanding, it's basically probably the only person that I could ever talk about how I felt.
I explained to her, which helped me let go of some of the emotion that I was holding.
I couldn't have done it without my family.
You might need to pull on a friend or a family member.
Keep contact with your family.
And my family was the phone call I was waiting for, because I had to be there for my husband and my other sons and all of my family.
I think the biggest help was coming here to the centre, speaking to other members in the community that have been through the same thing.
Everyone was so very supportive.
The community mourned him.
Got plenty of information, I got plenty of support.
I was waiting to get a place with community housing.
To make more connections within the community, with other community members.
The strategies was to undertake a position in community work, like becoming a member of the Lions Club.
Anybody, do not use your language you're born with. Just stick with the language in that country.
If people are more informed, more educated, if you like, into the risks of bushfire, what they need to do for their properties, how they need to prepare, the risks are less. We constantly trying to educate that through the Rural Fire Service world of people in planning and preparing their properties.
Make sure that you actually prepare yourself before it happens.
We set up a control centre at Mareeba, Incident Control Centre, and a division control at Dimbula, and resource both those facilities.
So what we'll do is actually prioritise what we have to do and where does that fit in with other things or mechanisms that may be in place.
We can improve, we can gain some lessons out of jobs and debrief them really well. That will help across the board. And
the last thing you need to be or should be doing is at the last minute panicking and then going, we need to get out.
Get the negatives out, get the problems sorted operationally. You feel better about what you did at the job and how you can improve.
If you panic, all that does is create further panic.
The good thing is to always have a confiding family and partner to talk to. Peers at work are great as well. You can chat, sit down with your crew, talk about stuff openly and freely. You'll have a much better chance of dealing with stuff if it pops up. And then they realise as well that you're not the only one that's going through what you're saying. They could be feeling the same things. We're out giving advice to community members as far as their preparation for things like fires and house fires and fire safety.
Getting out, talking to the schools, talking to local communities about how they can better make themselves resilient.
And we also work with the community to help prevent road crashes.
Take it day by day to start off with. Have a plan, so a plan A and then a plan B, because you've always got to have a backup plan.
Yes, I am in a domestic violence relationship and that you do need help.
I'd like to go and see someone and talk about it and get some strategies off them.
It's not going to get any better until I seek help.
Going to the psychologist, she's helped us put some strategies in place.
The moment that I opened up and started to speak the truth about how I felt, which areas of my life that I needed help with, then that's where I got the support, the sympathy, the love, just the encouragement.
She's helped us with quite a few coping mechanisms.
Dad was always very ambitious.
I did pace myself, and probably that's another tip too. Don't overdo it.
I guess that made me very, it made me very ambitious as well.
So that's when I got on my knees. I prayed. And then I started going back to church. I can find that we can, find that forgiveness. And I've been, and that's where I got my strength from. Belief in God and what Jesus has done for us. And that's given me the strength to stand up and tell others, the things of this world are only temporary. With God, you can have a better life.
A film for the Mareeba Community Centre and the Queensland Department of Communities, Housing and the Digital Economy. Stories of Resilience.